Obviously, you were famously known as a shark on Shark Tank and the owner of the Dallas Mavericks. Now you're taking on a new cap as a political spokesperson and supporter of Kamala Harris. First question, why Kamala and why now for you?
I think she's the better candidate. I've known Donald Trump for 25 years. I'm not a fan. He's literally the most unethical business person I've ever dealt with. And so having somebody like Kamala Harris who's ethical, honest, open-minded, isn't an ideologue. She says she's open to having a Republican on her candidate. She wants the best ideas. And I think that's critically important to the people of Wisconsin.
Yeah, definitely. And then as a shark on Shark Tank, you work with a lot of small business owners. You said you've helped thousands of people become millionaires?
Over 1,000 people become millionaires, yeah.
So how does Kamala compare to Donald Trump and how they approach the small business sector?
I haven't heard him talking about small business or entrepreneurs at all, and I think that's a big difference. She's put together a program that allows you to have a $50,000 deduction for your startup costs, which is critical. The cost of a lawyer, the licensing, the permits, and all that stuff, your bookkeeping, that gets expensive. And particularly since most people have pass-through companies, meaning they're limited liability companies, subchapter S, that means you can take that and offset it against your existing income. And so that makes it even less expensive to start a business. If you start in a family and you have a company, having the child tax credit, $6,000, that allows you to find somebody to watch your child while you're working and trying to run your business. I just think that she understands that where we are today, small businesses are driving the economy. That 55% of new jobs are created by small businesses. 99.5% of companies in this country are small businesses. And when Donald Trump talks about tariffs, what he doesn't tell you is the impact on small businesses. That if you have a 60% across the board tariff on China, all the products that you buy, so many of the products that you buy, clothes, books, diapers, are made in China. And so you can find yourself not being able to afford normal necessities, not being able to afford presents for Christmas. And when that happens, that also impacts that small business that you were buying from. And so when those costs go up for you as a consumer and you can't buy things and you're not shopping at your local retailer, what happens to them? And I don't think he understands how tariffs work. And he says he does, but I don't think he definitely doesn't understand the impact on small businesses.
You were very honest on stage saying that there's previous things that you have, supported from Trump or about him, and you've had a relationship with him, you said, for over 25 years. How have you seen him change, like you said on stage?
He's not smart, literally, and that's just reality. You're not as quick at 55 as you were at 25, you're not as quick at 65 as you were at 55, and you're certainly not as quick at 78 as you were at 55. Everybody's just natural, people slow down, and I think that's impacted his ability to consume information. He was never somebody to read a lot, he was never somebody to say, okay, let me dig in and learn this myself. That's just not who he is, and I think it's really finally caught up to him.
And then switching sort of gears here, you've been on some popular podcasts lately. You're at the UWL campus. Yeah. You were at Milwaukee earlier today. You're talking to a lot of young people. Why is it important for you to talk to people that could be potentially voting in this election and could be their first time voting in this election?
I know, it's really cool. My daughter's 18. It's her first election as well. And so just watching her go through the process and really finding so many great kids that want to learn. When Kamala was talking, they already knew her policy. She wasn't informing them. They were up to date already. And to see kids that have put in the time to understand what she's about and to recognize that they are our future. I know it sounds kind of corny, but when you're 18, you have your whole life ahead of you. And to be able to make decisions, and Kamala, I think one of the reasons they were here, Kamala Harris sees them. I don't think Donald Trump sees students. I don't think Donald Trump sees Gen Z. I think that she sees them, she understands and wants to create a strong future for them. When she talks about people, she's not criticizing. She's not talking about Trump supporters as this, that. She looks at Trump supporters and says, you have the right to make up your mind. I want to give you my position, and hopefully you'll be able to do it, whether they're kids or older. And I think coming here to UWL allows her to connect to those kids and allows those kids to realize that Kamala Harris is in her corner.
And you were recently on The View talking about how social media has created a gender gap in American politics. First of all, I just wanted to know, how did you get on that topic? How did you sort of realize that?
So they asked me about the gender gap, and I'm a geek, right? I use all technology. You want to know the difference between Perplexity, ChatGPT, Gemini, I'll tell you. So I'm that geeky. And when they asked me, I thought about it before because it's obvious. You know what it's like, right? You're scrolling, and the more you look at one thing, if you watch one video, you're getting more of those videos. And for guys, it's even more so because you start watching football, then you get an Andrew Tate video, that leads to a Donald Trump video, and then you get more and more and more Donald Trump videos, and it's just a reinforcing loop. And so that's why I got to that conclusion, because, you know, it's not like you see your friends or you see people on campus and they're all reading books anymore. That's just not the way it works anymore. People consume social media hours and hours a day. And if you're able to be in front of somebody, even if it's 5, 10, 15, 30 seconds at a time, you're going to influence how they feel and how they think. And I learned something from Mr. Beast. And what Mr. Beast told me was, we're talking about how he picks his next video. And he told me that what he does is he looks at the algorithms for YouTube and other platforms and he reverse engineers them. Because he can figure out, and he's got a big team, he spends a lot of money to do it, to figure out how you get from what they're watching to what they're interested in to what they want next. And that's why he gets so many views, because it seems like, oh my goodness, that's always a great idea. And that's what he does differently. And I think that same concept is happening here with particularly young men.
And then as, you know, I just kind of want to know, like, the role you play as a businessman and as a father. What are you doing to sort of, I guess, close that gap? Is it talking to people like me and journalists and talking to young voters? I guess, where's your role in this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a chameleon, but my role pretty much is talking about business. You know, Kamala Harris was a prosecutor, an attorney general, a senator, but she wasn't a salesperson. You know, Donald Trump is a salesperson. He wasn't a lawyer. He doesn't have that intellectual background. And so I understand how salespeople work, and I understand, you know, how he thinks sometimes. But I think I can be in a position to help them understand and help communicate, talk to you, talk to others, just to give a true feel of the Donald Trump I've known over the last 25 years.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Last question. Do you think you're going to have time to make it to the Bucks and Mavericks game tonight?
I won't make it there, but I'm sure as hell be sitting in front of the TV. Let's go Mavs.
Let's go Bucks.